One of the larger stains the FBI has ever had to endure on its not-so-spotless record was revealed in its entirety Thursday, a letter asking Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to kill himself, signed, sealed, and delivered by J. Edgar Hoover's FBI. The letter was discovered by a Yale history professor who penned an op-ed for the New York Times. Beverly Gage notes the letter occupies a unique place in the history of American intelligence, the most notorious and embarrassing example of Hoover's FBI run amok. The letter, known as the suicide letter, refers to the leader of the civil rights movement as sexually psychotic, a dissolute, abnormal imbecile, and a fraud. It ends with the famous warning, "You have just 34 days. There is but one way out for you. You better take it before your filthy, abnormal, fraudulent self is bared to the nation." The letter, along with a purported audio tape of MLK's extramarital affairs, was sent to the King home and discovered by his wife, Coretta Scott King. Dr. King assumed the letter and tape were from the FBI, and after his death, a Senate committee confirmed as much. In an age where whistleblowers like Edward Snowden have exposed just how far agencies like the NSA or FBI can reach, the newly released full version of the suicide letter is worrisome to many. The Electronic Frontier Foundation released a statement on the letter. The implications of these types of strategies in the digital age are chilling. Imagine Facebook chats, porn viewing history, emails, and more made public to discredit a leader who threatens the status quo or used to blackmail. These are not far-fetched ideas. And Vox calls the letter a terrifying reminder of what government surveillance agencies can be capable of. FBI Director James Comey acknowledged this blemish in the FBI's past when he was first introduced as director, telling the crowd, "I'm going to direct that all new agents and analysts also visit the Martin Luther King Memorial here in Washington. I think it will serve as a different kind of lesson, one more personal to the Bureau, of the dangers in becoming untethered to oversight and accountability."
They use surveillance in order to foment violence, break apart these organizations.
They were running a surveillance state.
This represents the darkest part of the Bureau's history.
All right, I'm just going to ask this question because there are points of this film that angered me. You know, for obvious reasons, but I want to ask you, what angered you as you began to uncover the layers of the research and actually what happened? What angered you as you learned this story?
I think the thing that angered me and disturbed me really, David, was the fact that the FBI, the lengths the FBI would go to discredit and destroy Dr. King's reputation. The idea that William Sullivan would create this letter that basically is saying to Dr. King, maybe you should consider killing yourself because you're a horrible human being. And then on top of it, sending an audio tape to his wife, supposedly of him in a room with another woman. I mean, that's not what the FBI is supposed to be all about. When I was growing up, Dave, I was like, in love with the FBI in the 60s. I watched all those old movies. I watched the FBI, TV series with Edwin Zimmer's Jr. I thought they were the good guys, So that was saddening to see that.
We're going to take it back to a high note here, because as we honor Dr. On his special day, what do you hope that the conversation is for people to have after they see this to honor Dr. King?
I think the conversation should be one to say that Dr. King was obviously one of the great leaders of the world, not just in America, and that he had an important contribution to helping to break the backs of segregation for people of color. I think they should understand that this history that I'm presenting in this film, that Ben Hadeen and I are presenting in this film, is a history that we should look at very closely and be mindful that we can repeat these things as we've seen in some ways, time and time again, So let's try to keep taking 2 steps forward, not 3 or 4 steps backwards in America.
What is it about storytelling that you love so much? Again, I want to reference the Sammy Davis Jr. Film that you did, which was excellent.
I grew up watching a lot of fiction films, and I loved all these fiction films, but going into the documentary arena,